Good morning, and welcome to another Sunday social hour with ya boy Gribbs. That sounded just like Peter. With ya boy Gribbly Pie. Okay, we're gonna have to scrap that. Good morning, pipers and preppers and thrill seekers all over the world. Welcome back to another Sunday social with Gribbs, your pal, and son of a bitch. You guys have been asking for a video of my pipe and tobacco collection, and I made one, but then I received some more stuff in the mail, and I was like, well, if I don't want to re-record it, but at the same time, I'm leaving out the stuff I received. And so anyway, I'm just going to post it. And Pipe Smoking Board Gamer, thank you for the recent additions to my pipe and tobacco collection. And you're also going to be featured in the questions here, buddy. Let's get right to it. I think I'll probably post that video this week. This is the time on my channel where I really wish I had a stack of papers to straighten. It doesn't feel good to like straighten your cell phone on the table. All right, so I made a cheat sheet here. We're gonna look at your questions and comments from the past week, starting in rough order, starting in the past and coming to the present moment. And Derek Tant, Mr. Tant, you guys should definitely go check out his channel. He's my best YouTube frenemy. We're always disagreeing a little bit with each other. But he actually asked a very challenging question. I was surprised that someone at his reading level would come up with this. Hey Gribbs, as I understand it, the United Kingdom has an elected government of parliament and prime minister. Why then is there even a royal family? What do they do? What is their purpose if they have no power? Your thoughts on this would be highly appreciated. Feel free to do research. Thank you, Derek. And then answer through your own unique but brilliant point of view. Kindest regards. Well, Mr. Tant, I did do a little research. I read, I skimmed about half of one piece on the internet from the Atlantic, and it's only 6 years old, so it's definitely top-notch research on this issue. But really, my answer here is the whole reason that the British monarchy still exists is so we can still justify playing God Save the Queen. The Sex Pistols version. She ain't a human being. We mean it, man. So I would love it if some of my UK followers would chime in, especially Beer Beard. Man, I would love to hear Beer Beard's perspective on this. But what I have discovered is basically the royal family is kind of like a state-sponsored amusement park at this point. Like, they don't do anything of actual value in governance. That sounds overly critical. I'm not trying to be critical. They don't do much of use in actual governments. They show up to functions, they shake hands, they smile at children, that sort of thing. And they maintain British culture, as someone pointed out in the comments. But they don't do much. And it sounds like the budget in 2012, according to that piece in the Atlantic, the budget for the royal family was $32 million. And that's not counting like the assets that they own, like giant palaces and stuff. So, from an American perspective, it seems really wonky to me too. But who are we to judge, right? It's not like we fought a war over this or anything. And I will say, the Queen's a badass, y'all. Like, I don't like monarchies. I'm against monarchies. The Queen's a badass. She's pretty cool. And you know, other than that though, from my perspective, my personal experience of the monarchy, and I went with my parents because my parents are both Anglophiles, and my dad more from the like theological history side of things, and my mom more from like the pomp and circumstance side of things. I remember one of my specific memories from childhood was watching Princess Diana's wedding, and I don't like it. I don't like that stuff. You know, people around the world are obsessed with who's the one now? Like Kate? No, it's not Kate Middleton. It's Meghan Markle, right? She's the one that's marrying one of the royals. Like, who cares? Who cares? I'm a wedding photographer. I take pictures of people getting married for a living. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I'm going to look at the photos and be like, oh, well, you know, this is the biggest wedding in the entire world. Let's see what this photographer can do. But last time, when it was Kate Middleton and the other one, the photographer was Mario Testino, and I thought the photos were okay, but bland. And now Testino is like in the center of another sexual harassment thing. So who knows? It doesn't even offer me something to look up to from the wedding photography angle. But you guys from the UK, let us know why you still participate in this archaic system of governance, but it's not even really governance. Does it, genuine question from an American, does it bother you that you might in some ways be a subject rather than a citizen? Is that something that bothers you? Let us know. Let me and all of the Ask Gribs, Gremlins, the Griblins out there, let us know. Derek also mentioned that people hassle him about the pronunciation of Latakia, whatever, however you prefer to say it. So there were some comments on that because I was in a little quibble with someone named Rutabaga Duplex, and after last week he commented and said, "Very time you say Latakia, you sound reddarded." Reddarded. I don't even know what you're trying to say there, Mr. Like, am I reddarded? I don't know. But I did get a really good comment from Alexander Sy, S-Y-C, and you guys will just have to go find that comment on that video and read it, because I can't read it out loud because of all the pronunciation stuff in it. But it's basically a paragraph about how Syrians would actually pronounce the word that we say as Latakia or Latakia. Timber Drifter asked a very pertinent question. Who the fuck is Logan Paul? I don't know if we can say. Who the fuck is Logan Paul? David, 35445, asks, do you think you would be able to land a 3 or 4 pound trout with your Tenkara rod? No, not at all. Yeah, there's no way that would happen. I mean, the fish that we're talking about here where I am are like a big one is this big. There are no 3 or 4 pound fish that, well, you know, I could probably, that bass that I landed might have been 1.5 pounds last year. And that was a fight, man. That was a fight, but I don't think that Tenkara rod can handle anything bigger. Pipe Cat did not ask a question, but you get the award for the most hilarious comment. The mug hen speaks to you, the energy you feel, it's the cluckening. So next, NYC Drums gets personal with it. Where did you meet your wife? When were you married? Here we go, y'all. I'll speak in general terms because I don't want to give away any important dates or anything like that. My wife and I met in school, and we knew each other. We were very young when we met, and we knew each other for a long, long time before we got married about 10... hang on. Yes, about 10 years ago. Darling, I was just testing you to see if you knew. That's all. I totally didn't pause the video and look it up then. So I hope that answers your question. Next, we'll move on to the topic of prepper fashion, which came up this week on The Folly. Timber Drifter, this wasn't really a question, but he sort of mentioned that he has the same issues that I feel like I do, which is that you just don't look like other people. You don't fit in civilization when you're out in the woods all the time. He did bring up the fact that the hats he wears are practical for a bald woodsman. I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. I don't understand that. But and then he also wears a belt knife. Now, look, I'm going to take issue with you here, Timber Drifter, in the most kind and respectful way. If your belt knife is big enough to be a weapon, I think you shouldn't wear it on your belt to go into the grocery store. That's just my opinion, but I used to work in a retail establishment where people, gutter punks, not outdoors people. Like I guess okay, actually I know how you dress because I watch your videos and I know how I dress. And if I saw someone dressed like one of us, maybe no. If I saw someone dressed like you with a knife, I wouldn't think twice about it. If I saw someone dressed like me, I would think twice, but I'd probably be okay. If you see someone dressed like a gutter punk with a big ass knife, like, no, don't do that. Don't open carry a weapon into a place where I work, where I can't get away from you. Like, if I'm in the grocery store and I see someone I don't like carrying a gun or a knife, I just walk away, right? Like, cool. You know, you don't look like you're stable enough to have that on your belt, so I'm just going to go to my car for a minute and come back. But if you work there, you can't do that. It's a touchy subject because, I mean, I believe in, you know, your right to carry whatever you need to carry. But there have been times when I have been made uncomfortable by people open carrying large knives. So I'm not necessarily taking issue with you. I'm kind of saying what's the deal here? Where's the line? David says, I often cringe when I hear people refer to their kit by the brand name rather than the common noun for said item. Yes. Yes. As I'm smoking my Mastro de Paja Punto Patia, as I'm smoking my big ass pipe here, I agree with you. I think that's with my Esoterica Margate infused breath, I will definitely wholeheartedly agree that that's really annoying. John Waxeroni, one of my subscribers that I think of as the two of you that are in the mafia. There's Galdieri and Waxeroni. I'm sorry, this thing of ours that are friends of ours asks about UFOs. If you were to meet an alien, what do you think it would be like? What is my vision of an alien? He thinks they would be like insects. I think that for advanced life to have to traverse the distances involved, right? You're going to need a bigger brain case than most insects have. Do insects even have brains? I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I know about insects is which ones to feed to trout. And I don't really even know that. So I don't think that's my thing about insects is, you know, we're talking about the xenomorph from Aliens, right? But the xenomorph in Aliens did not travel the distances itself. It was a parasite that latched on to other people that were traveling the distances. So I think, you know, who's got the biggest brain case per body mass? Primates. I mean, that's why we are where we are in the world, right? So either that or machines. You know, we're already to the point where, I mean, we literally send out drones into our own solar system. So if we were to meet aliens, I bet we'd meet a drone first, and then I bet they would kill us all. My boy, Pipe Smoking Board Gamer, asks, why continue living if sweets are omitted? I can't really think of a good answer for that. So it's not Lot of Kia. It's not Lot of Kia. Check out my VR. So he's got a link there. Go check out his video on the pronunciation of Lot of Kia. And the best question ever, why Gribbly? I actually talked about this when I started the Gribbly's Folly thing from when I moved over from a channel named Defiant Pipes. Gribbly is actually my third channel name. And my first one was my favorite pipe because I started every video by saying, this is my favorite pipe. And then there was Defiant Pipes because I had this idea for a pipe restoration business on Etsy. And then I restored so many pipes that I never wanted to do that again. But I was having so much fun making YouTube videos that I decided, after the election that it was time to sort of rebrand and I picked the name Gribbly because it's not attached to pipes or prepping, or it's just a name, Gribbly. But the place from which I picked it was my favorite childhood book, My Side of the Mountain by Gene Craighead George, and the main character is named Sam Gribbly, and he runs away to live in the woods. And upon reading that book, after a year in the woods, because I read it about every year still. And I'm super excited. Like when my kid is old enough, I'm going to be, man, we're gonna have so much fun with that book. And then there was actually like a companion book that came out like about it was a survival guide based on what happens in the book. After a year in the woods, most of the stuff in that book is not so accurate. Like, if you guys remember the video where I whittled a fish hook, that comes from my side of the mountain. He whittles fish hooks. No, you can't whittle fish hooks. That's not how that works. You can make a toggle, but I've never done that. Maybe I should put that on my list of things to do this year. But yeah, he whittles fish hooks. There's just other things about it where it's definitely a fantasy book more than an actual like true to life survival book. But it's a kid's book. It's made for a 3rd grade audience, which is why I still read it every year. Oopal's Cat Prepping, I did check out your channel, make sure I'm pronouncing your name right, says, tofu smells of nothing. Are you sure your mother-in-law is not just adding poison? No, I'm not. Also, enjoyed this video a lot. There was a lot of wisdom, and I love the hat. Were you wearing it when the paramedics came? I was not. I was not wearing it when the paramedics came. That might have engendered more respect if I had had the Who Down in Whoville hat going on. Robert Dixon. Here we get into comments about my recent video, which at first was titled Donald Trump Doesn't Exist, but I thought that was just too clickbaity of a title for me, so that I retitled it Flesh and Blood, talking about, it was actually, I said this in the part that I erased, it was a Gribbs Answers video, because Pipes Etc. asked about my opinions on politics. Go watch the video. It's a good video. I like it. But Robert Dixon commented on it and said, because in that video I say that the powers and principalities that govern us don't really exist. He says these powers and principalities, if you go against them, you will find out that the stark reality is that they are very real. Durban Poison says, politics is pretty real. It just raised my property tax. More so at the state level. I definitely want to respond to that. But then Timber Drifter left a comment, and I can't remember why I flagged it. Because also in the part that I erased, he makes a good point. American politics at this point is basically professional sports. Like, it's pretty much just professional sports because the government is going to do what the government's going to do. The players just need to get reelected, right? So they throw out things that are popular, that are jingoistic, that are easy for people to understand. Abortion, gay rights, whatever. They throw these things out to get people to the polls to reelect them so they can keep doing what they want. I really want to delve into the question with you of whether or not government actually exists. I think it's a fascinating thing, but this is a pipe channel, right? This is an adventure channel, right? So I don't want to just give you an answer here. I would much rather like make an actual video discussing this specific thing. But at the same time, I don't want to grib-splain to you guys. Like, if that's not something that you guys want to hear, let me know in the comments. Do you actually really want to hear me talk about this? Because this is like poli-sci snooze fest here. I mean, I think it's really important. It's changed my life. Like, finding myself on the other side of this argument has changed my life. So if you want to hear me talk about it, I will. But I guess I'm trying to leave you an out. I'm trying to leave you like, no, thanks. We've heard your opinion on this. You don't need to talk about that anymore. And speaking of grib-splaining, I think I have held forth long enough today. Thank you so much for coming along on this ride. As always, ask me whatever questions you want to ask me. Metaphysical questions, technical questions, personal questions, whatever you want to know. I will give you an answer. It's guaranteed to be right. There is no possible way I could ever give you a wrong answer. So that's it for this Sunday social hour. Thank you guys for all your concern about my family's health. Thanks for sharing your pipes and coffee with me, and keep the ends out for the ties that bind.